XPS 15, the 7590 model, although you wouldn't really know just by looking at it. From the outside, it's nearly identical to last year's one. The only way I can tell is that you've got the webcam on the top bezel now, and also my old one has loads of grease marks on the palm rest. So I've gone for pretty much the top spec model of the new Dell, with a 4K OLED screen, Core i9 processor, 32 gigs of RAM, a 1TB SSD, and the GTX 1650 graphics card. Oh, and I also bought the non-OLED version, the LCD one, because why buy one when you can get two for twice the price? For this one, we're looking at about £2,500, or around $26.50, which is an awful lot of money, although I guess when you consider that the similar equivalent spec MacBook Pro 15 is actually around $1,000 more than this starts to look relatively affordable, relatively. By the way, if you want to see more tech and lots of behind the scenes photos, it would be amazing if you could follow me on Instagram @TheTechChap. So there's definitely a feeling of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, this is now the 4th year we've had the same, or near enough the same design. Same keyboard, same touchpad, same ports, including an SD card reader, HDMI 2 and Thunderbolt 3. But the good news is they have moved that webcam. So it's no longer looking up your nose, it's on the top bezel in a normal place, not down there at the bottom. So if you're doing lots of video conferencing, Skype calls, then obviously this has fixed pretty much the biggest design issue we've all had with the Dell XPSs for years now, so that is good to see. There's still no Windows Hello face unlock, but you do get a fingerprint reader built into the power button, which is pretty handy. So a fresh new look, or maybe a bigger touchpad would have been nice, but I still think it looks good. It's still got an understated premium feel to it, and it is still incredibly compact for a 15-inch laptop. But most importantly, I still think the keyboard and the touchpad are among the best out there. So the big upgrades this year, aside from the webcam, are the new 9th gen processors, i5, i7 or i9, NVIDIA GTX 1650 graphics, that's up from the 1050 Ti last year, an upgraded Wi-Fi and Bluetooth chip, which actually has fixed all my complaints about connection issues from before, and also we have a new screen option. I've always been a big fan of the screens on the XPS laptops because for, I don't know, creator laptops like this, you want power, you want portability, and you want a good display, particularly the 4K one. But now we actually have 3 options. You've got a matte, full HD, non-touch one, a 4K glossy LCD, or a 4K glossy OLED. There's a brand new OLED entry into the mix, which makes things a little bit trickier when it comes to deciding what model you want. But I did actually spend all of last weekend making a dedicated OLED versus LCD video. So if you want to find out everything there is to know about the screens, then go and watch that after this. But to cut a long story short, they really are both stunning screens. Honestly, you can't go wrong with either. But the OLED does have significantly better contrast, which means you get much deeper blacks, smoother color gradients, as you can see here. It also handles reflections a little bit better, and it's slightly more color accurate on the DCI-P3 color gamut. And overall, it just looks a bit more vivid and eye-catching. The LCD is brighter though, it's got slightly better viewing angles. It also gets the Dell Premiere Color app pre-installed, which lets you change color profile, which for some reason you just can't get on the OLED model. And it's also a touchscreen. So you basically have to ask yourself 2 questions. Number 1, is battery life more important to you than the screen or having a really high-res screen? If it is, then you should go for the matte full HD version because you get roughly twice the battery. But I think most people actually should go for the 4K. You get a slightly nicer design with a flush glass bezel, and it does look stunning. It's more color accurate, obviously sharper. I love the 4K screen on this. But then question 2 is, should you go for LCD or OLED? Well, to be honest, I think most people would be better off with the normal LCD. The touchscreen is handy, and if I'm honest, even side by side, it doesn't look that much different to the OLED. For me though, as someone who watches and edits YouTube videos all day long, the slightly nicer colors and more accurate DCI-P3 gamut is nice to have, so I'm probably going to stick with the OLED, although we'll have to wait and see if there's any long-term burn-in issue, but so far I've not had any problems. A quick tip though, if you are thinking of going for the OLED model, because I was this close to returning it because of screen flickering. It was driving me mad, but the good news is actually there is a quick fix. Just jump into the Intel graphics control panel and turn off display self-refresh. That's literally it, and it completely fixed the flickering issue. As for battery life, a 1-hour YouTube test actually showed no difference between the OLED and the LCD. In fact,